I'm going to experience just how quick this thing is very shortly, and I'm not sure if I'm fully prepared. Oh! Jesus Christ! Bloody hell! Welcome back to Classic Britain, and this is a video you guys have been asking for a while now. This is the video of my friend Sam's TR8 V8. Thanks for coming down, helping me with the Nada today, appreciate it.
That's cool, mate, no problem at all.
What's the story of this car?
This car, oh wow, I restored this about 15 years ago. So it was a nut and bolt restoration. I started off with a car that had already been converted to V8, that was a basket case. And then I managed to find a really good condition American dry state body shell and build the car out of the two.
So like my car, pretty much?
Yeah, very much, yeah. Started off life with a 3.5 and about 2 or 3 years after I put it on the road, I went to a 3.9. It probably was on the road for about 7 or 8 years. Originally I painted it black. I took it off the road, resprayed it this colour, which is very similar to a factory colour, but it's not a factory colour. It
reminds me of Trident Green on the SD1s.
Yeah, well, the TR7 equivalent was Triton Green, I think it is. But this is actually a Volkswagen colour. It's off the latest Scirocco. It's called Viper Green.
Oh, right.
But it's very, very similar.
And it was easier to get this, obviously.
Oh, way easier to get, yeah. And this has got a pearlescent finish in it as well. So when the sun hits it, it's like a gold that pops out. So yeah, it was resprayed 7 years ago. But like all classic cars, it's like a rolling process. You know, every so many years I'll be like, right, okay, this winter I'll do the back axle again, or this winter I'll do this. So it's a constant like work in progress. Last year the engine came out and I completely rebuilt it. I have had some camshaft stroke cam follower issues, which I won't go into too much, but I've had the cam out several times and replaced it. So last weekend I put in another camshaft and some better followers. So at the moment I'm just waiting to see how that lasts. But it's a daily driver. It doesn't live in a garage. I don't have a garage anymore. So it lives out on the drive in the rain and gets used every day.
Which is what you want to see, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
I feel like, especially with the Bristol cars, which is a mark I'm very fond of, some of them, they don't even drive their cars because, you know, they judge on if it has a scratch on the nose cone and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's really extreme mint condition. But these cars, you know, it's nice to see them being used, you know, because a lot of people are scared to use classics now for every day.
Yeah, I understand it, because it shocked me how, in the time I've owned this, how much deterioration has taken place. Because you assume that when you restore it and you give it all the best rust treatments and you take the best care with the paintwork, you think that'll be it forever. And then a few years later the rust starts to creep through again and you think, oh, I understand now why people do garage them and not want to take them out in the rain. But I didn't build it because I wanted to own it. I built it because I wanted to drive it. So that's the price I pay.
What's the story on the TR8 part of it? Because this is technically not a TR8.
No, it's a TR7 with a V8 engine. So there's probably people who know the story more detailed than myself. But essentially the car, the TR7, was always supposed to have the V8 engine. It was designed to have that from the very beginning. BL didn't have the capacity to make the engine, so at the last minute they decided to bore out the Dolomite engine. They put the 2 litre in, and then its production over the years was beset by like strikes and other issues, so they moved from the Speak factory in Liverpool to Canley, and then from Canley to Solihull. And when they were at the Solihull factory around 78, 79, they finally decided to do the TR8 initially for the American market. So that's essentially exactly the same as the TR7, pretty much, apart from putting in the 3.5 V8 engine in the front.
And the genuine TR8s are really rare, right?
They are. There's about, and I'm probably way off on the figures, I believe there was about 2,500-ish sold in America, and then there was a handful of right-hand drives built for the British market that went out to main dealers as demonstrators, and they were rolling out the car in the UK. And right at that point, BL had a change of management, and they decided why are we making sports cars? We should be making family cars. So they literally cancelled the car on the spot. So the TR8, was it ever officially released in the UK? I think you can say yes, but I don't think many actually made it out of the dealerships. So in the UK now, the genuine TR8s are much coveted. I will put an addendum to that, because when I badge this as a TR8, the genuine TR8 owners get a little bit hissy about it. They say, no, you should badge it as a TR7 V8. But I would argue that the genuine works rally cars were badged as TR7 V8s, and this car is way closer to a TR8 than it is a rally car. So I'm comfortable with the badging as it is. The other thing is the genuine 8s, I think they were about 135 horse. So they were all of the anti-emission stuff. They smogged them to death as the Americans
really strangled.
said. Yeah, they were strangled. So they weren't really worthy of the V8 anyway. Whereas all of the British ones, because when they stopped production in about 1980, lots of companies started to do V8 conversions. So they're relatively common now. And most people, because it was available, they'd stick a V8 in there. They'd put a cam in, a different carburetor. So like this is over twice the rated horsepower of a standard TR8. So a lot of people would argue that a lot of the V8 conversions are actually better cars than the genuine 8s, but they don't have the kudos of being a genuine 8.
Because this is not far 300 horsepower and it's pretty close.
Yes, well, because of the weight of the vehicle, you're literally right on that 300 brake per tonne, which is supercar territory. I mean, it has suspension and brakes designed in the 1960s, so I'm not saying it's the supercar, but it's got a huge amount of power for the weight of the vehicle.
Yeah, let's have a look around here actually, because one of the things you've done, and these are really nice, not only these very flashy and very expensive Yokohama tyres, but these really nice Revolution wheels. These look really cool.
Yeah, they come from Hamilton Motorsport, who actually specialise in like performance TR stuff, but they still rally V8 TR7s. So Hamilton sell the Revolution wheels.
These are this is the same gearbox as the ST1 LT77.
That's correct, yeah.
We have these seats are lovely, and you've actually got these are heated seats. You've added some things.
Yeah. Well, I planned before COVID I was going to drive this to the Arctic Circle, same as Harry did on Harry's Garage episode with the Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
So in preparation for that, I thought, okay, I need to make sure it's super reliable, and what other considerations should I have? And I bought a heated seat kit from eBay, took the covers off, inserted them, and they work really, really well. They're great value for money.
Let's have a look under the bonnet.
Right.
It's the business end.
This is the money shot.
There it is. Right, so brief rundown, because you talked about it before.
Yeah.
3.9.
Yes, it's a Piper 270 cam. The heads are standard, as in valve-wise and spring-wise.
But you've ported them.
But I've ported them, so I've port matched them to the inlet manifold and to the exhaust manifolds.
Yeah.
All the internals are balanced for weight. I couldn't balance the rotating stuff. The flywheel is lightened and balanced, but the crank I just couldn't. It was too expensive to get that done.
Yeah.
It's obviously got the extractor exhaust manifolds. It's got the 4-barrel Edelbrock carburetor.
500 CFM, right?
It's the smaller one. I think yeah, it is the 500. Yes, it is the 500. That was all set up on a rolling road, and it also had a visit to RPI Engineering where they went over it for me. And
same front suspension as an SD1 as well, isn't it? Same shock towers.
Yes, there's a lot of similarities when you look under the bonnet of this and an SD1, because essentially the engine and gearbox, it is SD1. Even the final drive ratio on this is a 3.08 to 1. It's the same as an SD1. It is a different axle, but the whole drivetrain really.
It's like this is a shorter front end of an SD1, essentially, isn't it? I mean, the engine bay looks almost the same, just a little bit shorter.
Yes.
And how much does this weigh?
Well, there's a plate here, but I think 1340. I'm not sure if that's gross. I've seen a figure of 960 somewhere, so I'm not quite sure.
So it's going to be a little over a tonne.
I was told it was just under, so I'm not sure how to read that, whether that's maximum axle weights. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very light. There's not a lot to it.
Oh, I guess time to take it for a spin.
Yes, let's. As it was once famously said in the movie, let's kick her in the guts.
Right, I don't normally do this sort of camera angle, but I'm going to experience just how quick this thing is very shortly, and I'm not sure if I'm fully prepared. Oh! Jesus Christ! Bloody hell! Holy fuck! Christ! Keep in the right lane because we're going to go straight on from here.
Right.
Holy shit! I was not expecting that. I've been in fast cars, but this... Oh. That was genuine fear. I won't lie to you. Jesus Christ. It weighs so little. Like 300 horsepower, right? It doesn't sound like a lot, but this is light. Jesus Christ.
I often have conversations with friends of mine who have got quite powerful, like big Audis.
Yeah, big Audis.
And they'll say, oh yeah, my car's got...
Jesus Christ, that is quick.
They'll say, like, my car's got 450 or 500 horsepower. And I'll be like, yeah, but your car weighs 2 tons. The power to weight ratio on this still outstrips it.
Bloody hell. I went in my friend's Tomcat Turbo. It's about 200 horse. And that was quick. But this is even lighter than that. And that was something. Bloody hell. There's one of these, a TR7 with Wildcat heads, and I think that's close to 400 horse. That must be really scary, because this is...
That'd be an animal.
Yeah, I mean, this is 300, and yeah, it's quite lively. Barbara O'Reilly. Of course, we're stuck behind a slow van.
Probably just as well.
Oh! Oh, man. You are right, I do want one.
I knew if I took you out in it, you'll be lying in bed tonight thinking, they're not too expensive to buy either.
Whoa. That was something, that really was something. It's not that I've been in a Volkswagen Golf that was like 400 horse, but this is just so raw, it's a different experience.
Yeah, the exhaust note and the way the engine delivers the power.
It's the torque.
Yeah.
It's the torque. Holy crap. That was frightening. That was frightening. Right, we're going for another run. Coming up to the big straight in a minute. Bloody hell! Christ! Holy shit! Gordon Bennett! Whoa! Jesus! This thing's fast. This thing's really fast. I honestly will say, I've been in a few modern cars, I think this is faster. It's just the weight is so low. Whoa. Jesus. Right, so I've never actually been in a TR8 before, and after that pretty terrifying experience, I won't lie to you, that did catch me off guard. I was not expecting it to be this quick. We're just going to do some nice rumbly chat and driving around. We're going to drive along the seafront. It is a really nice... Actually, I'm quite surprised the amount of legroom, because I'm quite tall, and I've got really comfortable legroom. That's actually quite surprising. Because a lot of these small British two-seater sports cars, there's not much room, but these are actually quite generous. Do these share the same floor pan as the SD one?
No, I don't think they do.
No. Or maybe the front half.
If you look at them from underneath, the method of construction is exactly the same. Same kind of cross member, the same principles of construction, but it doesn't share a floor.
Nice old Saab there. This is typical tourist weather. There's just something about cruising along, roof down, lovely burbly engine behind you. And even though you said you've done some stuff to the suspension, right?
Yeah, it's the springs are all uprated, the dampers are all uprated. It's got urethane bushes throughout, and there's a modification on these. They were very susceptible to the nose diving under heavy braking from the factory, and this has got an uprated kit on the front that actually changes the caster angle, and it lowers the front anti-roll bar, which gives it a bit more of an anti-dive suspension geometry.
Yeah. Oh, look at that sea. This is perfect conditions for TR8. Cruising along next to the sea, nice sunny day, top down.
All that's missing now is a couple of ice creams.
Yeah. It's actually very, very comfortable. I was quite surprised because a lot of these these smaller cars, the leg room's not particularly great. They don't ride that well, but this rides really well actually.
Yeah, it's a little harsh because of the suspension mods, but it's still good in comparison.
Yeah, and of course it's yeah. Oh, it's an old. I think that's an old Bedford. Yeah, there's an old Bedford ice cream van. No, that's the transit one. There is a Bedford locally. It's a CA ice cream van. You can go straight on, right, and then we'll go right. But yeah, no, it's I really quite like this. If we didn't have the SD1, I'd probably get one of these. But we're gonna do the SD1, I think.
The spares availabilities for these is still quite good. You know, for anybody wanting to do a restoration or to own one as a daily driver, there's no reason at all. There's nothing that you need for these that you can't get.
Something big and interesting there. What is that? A Bedford, I think. Yeah, that's a Bedford RL. Very cool. They make great little like overlanders and campers, those do. Well, they're not that little, but they're quite good. There's actually still a Rover dealership open here in Newlyn.
Is there?
An original, yeah, they got old minis and all sorts in there. Hardings, they've been open for years and years and years.
Wow.
It's rumoured there's a rare P6 he's got stashed away, so I'm trying to find out if those rumours are true.
Well, there's a garage up in mid-Cornwall that reputedly has 2 brand new TR7 convertible body shells on a rack.
Really?
Yeah, they're quite well known, but I've heard the stories from multiple sources, and there's one guy in particular who does vehicle movements in Cornwall for people, and he told me when he moved this for me once, he said he's actually seen them in this guy's warehouse.
So it is true?
And yeah, so it's an abandoned garage, and the 2 brothers that own it live in a bungalow next door, and apparently it's an old showroom and there's some cars in the behind the glass, but apparently out in the back
right here, go right
stuff,
here,
where they store the stuff. Apparently there's 2 TR7 convertible body shells up on racking, which would be worth an absolute fortune if it were true. Rumour has it that if you turn up outside there, put it this way, if they were America, they'd come out with a shotgun and scream, "Get off my land." So no one's ever actually seen them recently, but whenever you mention it, everyone goes, "Oh yeah, I've heard about that."
Yeah. Cornish industry still going strong. Yeah, my friend up the road here has got a 58 Cadillac he's just bought.
Oh, nice.
56, yeah.
I do like my Americana.
He makes me laugh. He said he's probably watching this video. He said, oh, I'm gonna stop with the cars. They're too much hassle. Sold everything off and then bought this Cadillac. Can't help himself. Ooh. I will say the exhaust note is different to other Rover V8s I've heard. Is it because of those rear boxes, you think?
Yes. So I have to be careful what I say for legal reasons, but were somebody to remove the centre exhaust boxes and just have TVR Tuscans at the back, it would give an exhaust note just like this.
But of course that isn't the case here.
And I think if this system had the centre boxes in, the note would be very muted and very different, which might give one a reason to want to delete them.
Which of course you haven't.
Absolutely, for legal reasons, yeah.
I do understand why these did well rallying, because obviously they handle well, they've got the power.
Yeah.
Because the rally spec ones are only about 250 horsepower, they weren't crazy.
Well, I've seen various figures bandied around, but I did read an interesting piece. The original Tony Pond, because I believe they had to run 3.5 litres.
Yeah, yeah.
Which kind of restricted them slightly.
Go right here.
Okay. But I did see a figure of 250 horse given for a 3.5 litre rally car. So it's kind of mental to think that a road-going car now develops more than what the actual works rally car did back then.
Well, there is a TVR. I think it's a 5 litre in it with Wildcat head, and that's 417 horsepower.
Yeah.
And that must be ludicrously fast.
Well, when I had this put on the rolling road, the dyno, years ago, it was a garage in Plimpton near Plymouth called Alan Jeffries, and he said that just before I'd been in, the day before, he'd had a TVR of some description in, but it was the Rover V8 engine.
Yeah.
I believe it could have been a 5 litre, and he said basically I think their dyno maxed out at like 600 horse, and it maxed out on the dyno. So, but he said you could.
He's letting you out. He's letting you out.
Thank you.
That does make a good sound. Oh yes. Straight across this roundabout.
Actually, mate, I need to pull over at the next lay-by. We have an overheating issue.
Oh, okay.
Well, straight across, did you say?
Yeah.
The fan hasn't kicked in for some reason. I think I might know why.
Okay. Go back to you in a minute. Right, thank you for watching this episode. It's a bit of a different thing. I've never really sort of done a video of talking, driving people's, being in people's cars and, talking about them and stuff like that before. So if you enjoyed this type of video, I'll happily make more. Thanks to Sam for taking his car out and taking me out in it and scaring the living shite out of me.
You're welcome.
Because it's pretty quick. Any plans for future upgrades in the future?
There's some body work to be done to it. It's the rain and the rust is kind of getting to it now a little bit. So most people would look at it and think it looks pretty good, but I see all the imperfections. And a new mohair soft top, really. Mechanically, I'm pretty happy with where it is currently. I don't want to get too wrapped up in just continually changing it, because it is a daily driver, and I want it to be reliable. And I have a philosophy with vehicles like this: take them off the road as little as possible.
There we are. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment down below, let us know what cars you'd like me to see me film, and until next time, bye for now.
Cheers.